And I'm waiting, whoever wants to share about their understanding of co-regulation, I'm very happy to hear it and to expand on what is being shared. And I'll start simply by saying that the process of co-regulation is a process that is very specific to mammals, and more specifically primates and humans, and that we've developed that as a way to actually further resource our nervous systems for survival. So we are essentially, a lot of the times we hear that we're wired for survival, and that's not untrue. It is true. And we're primarily wired for attachment in order to survive. So the way that our species has evolved over time is we have developed a nervous system that allows us to actually share resources and cues of safety with one another so that we can feel more resourced, more capable, more flexible, more resilient. So that's what co-regulation is about. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to say or to ask about co-regulation? I don't know if you were a part of the challenge that we just had over the last 2 weeks on co-regulation, sharing each day a practice, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing together today, some of those practices. So the process of co-regulation happens basically outside of language. Again, it's a nervous system to nervous system communication that happens, and it happens above the diaphragm. So the heart, our lungs, our throat, our face, the eyes, are all part of what is called in polyvagal theory our ventral vagal system. And it's the way that we are in relationship with others and that we help others feel safe with us, in space with us, and that they help us feel safe with them. So this system, the ventral vagal system, is either sending cues of safety, you're safe with me, it's safe to be here, you're welcome, or it's sending cues of danger. And so we're what's called neurocepting. So the process of neuroception is us like being attuned to a process where we're realizing without words whether we are safe in space with someone or we are not. And it's very subtle. It can be heard in the voice. It can be seen in the face, in the mouth, in the eyes, and the whole facial expression. And the range also of the frequencies of our voice. So if someone has a very monotone voice, for instance, that's going to send cues of danger to our nervous system, like something's wrong, something's off. Whereas if someone has a melodic voice and they change their intonation as they're speaking to us, we feel attuned to, and we feel like there's relationality happening there, and we feel safe in presence with another because we feel seen, we feel that we are being met, that someone is here with us. So, hello, Maria. I see Maria. Thank you for your comments. And I'm so glad that you're here too. And please feel free to ask any questions about co-regulation. So in a moment, I feel like, again, I want this to be more experiential. I want us to co-regulate with each other, even though I cannot see you. I can feel your intention and your care and your love. And so I can connect to that, and you can connect to my intention, which through my meditations, maybe you are attuned to my energy and what is the quality of my intention. when I create content. And so maybe when you're here in space with me, you can feel that. You can feel the quality of my intention, and that is a process of co-regulation. So unless there's any question, what I feel is going to help us to get into this process of co-regulating together is to reset our nervous system. So we're going to start by self-regulating so that then we can go into co-regulation. And I'm going to add one more thing about co-regulation. We actually do not know, we are not born with skills to self-regulate. We learn self-regulation through co-regulation. And that's very important to understand, because that means two main things. The first thing is that if we had caregivers who were not attuned to our needs, or who were neglectful, or potentially abusive, that it can be more difficult for the people who have had those experiences to self-regulate, because they did not have an experience of co-regulation with their caregivers. And so they did not learn how to manage their nervous system with another, which is how we then learn to self-regulate, to manage our own nervous system. So I wanted to say that. And then the implications of that is that we might have less capacity, less nervous system capacity, less flexibility, less resilience, and we may even pull away from relationships that could be actually nurturing and resourcing and allow us to learn to self-regulate, because being in relationship did not feel safe to begin with. So I just wanted to name that, because it's important that we understand that, so that we understand we're not an island to ourselves, and we need others to co-regulate. And if it doesn't feel safe to co-regulate with other human beings because you have had relational trauma, then what I would say is you can start with pets. If you feel safe with pets, if you have pets, or if you can, be around some pets or horses. Horses are incredible for co-regulation. You may know about equine therapy. That's an amazing way to actually co-regulate with actually an animal that has the capacity to sense what your nervous system is holding and to actually release it for you. So that's very helpful. Or just going in nature, just being around trees and other wildlife is extremely regulating, especially if you are on the neurodivergence spectrum, for instance. It's even easier for you to actually self-regulate through the co-regulation of Mother Nature. Okay, so let's do a reset. Let's bring our nervous system into a state of calm. And we're going to do that with the physiological sigh. So if some of you have done some of our meditations, for instance, I believe it's called the reset meditation, and it teaches the physiological sigh. In the nervous system world, one of the primary ways to actually reset our nervous system is through breath. It's one of the easiest pathways to do that, and then co-regulate. So the physiological sigh has been studied and has been lauded to be one of the most effective ways to actually reset your nervous system. And the way that you would know that your nervous system has been reset after doing the physiological sigh is if you actually are basically get a yawn, because that's your vagus nerve responding physiologically to the physiological sigh. It's like, okay, now I can kind of relax, and you go into parasympathetic nervous system functioning, which is what the yawn is like. So hold on, Maria is saying, when you have fallen off the horse and want to quickly get back on track, that's my That's your line on the reset meditation, one of my favorites. I did not remember saying that, so that's funny that I brought up the co-regulation with horses. Yes. So the physiological sigh is very simple. You inhale through your nose. So I'm going to show one time how it is, and then we'll do it together. And you can do as many repetitions as you'd like, and hopefully you get a yawn. Sometimes when we are in a context that feels a bit uncomfortable, even though you're not seeing each other, maybe even being in community sometimes can feel, there can be an edge to that. Just know that maybe you need to do more physiological sighs until you get a response from your vagus nerve. So the way it works is you inhale through your nose one time, then you inhale again, just a little bit, and then you exhale through your mouth. And usually within 2 to 3 rounds, you get a response from your vagus nerve. For me, it's pretty immediate. Actually, just talking about it, I want to yawn. So forgive me if you see me yawning on the screen. It's just my nervous system basically responding to what we're doing. So it goes like this. Okay, so now we're going to do it together. So when you're ready, again, yield into support, into the chair that you're sitting on or the surface that you're sitting on. And you're going to go. And here's my yawn. So I don't know if you got a yawn yet or not. I invite you to, if you did not get a yawn, to continue until you get a yawn so that you can kind of arrive, right? So there's no expectation here that we would come into this space regulated, right? And regulated means like your nervous system is resourced, it's got capacity, it's resilient, it's flexible, you can take on challenges and you can meet, the stresses of life and you can, basically respond without going into a, maybe fight or flight or freeze or what's called fawning or collapsing. Again, nervous system language. If you want to understand any of those words, if they're relevant to you, meaning you want to know more, I'm very happy to explain. I'm just right now, again, being more generic. So right now, as we come into this space, coming dysregulated is completely normal, and that's why we're here, right, to co-regulate together. So for me, for instance, you may sense it. I'm always a bit nervous in public. That's just my thing. I have some childhood trauma around performance and not being seen. And so when I come and I'm online in front of a crowd, even if I'm not yet seeing people, my nervous system starts to be a bit like on edge. It's like I'm not fully like arriving and being here. So I'm being just transparent with you, because the more we are authentic and transparent, the more we actually get to share and to support one another with our own specific challenges. So I'm going to invite you into one more self-regulating tool, which is basically humming. So Om works really well. That said, some people don't want to Om. Maybe, they see it as like it belongs to a certain tradition. So I'm not saying you should Om or not. I'm just saying that's a good way to hum. But you can just you can just go like And the purpose is that when we do that, so the vagus nerve runs at the back of your brain, in the brainstem, front and back. The ventral nervous system is of the vagus nerve is at the front, and the dorsal is at the back. And 80% of the vagus nerve is in our gut. So that's why, like, when we hum or when we om, what happens is that you might have sensed it. You start to feel the vibration in your throat, because the vagus nerve is also there, but 80% of it is in your gut. And it starts to, just vibrate the vagus nerve, and then the vagus nerve can relax. And so when we hum, we also get usually a response, a parasympathetic nervous response, and we yawn again. So that is one way. There's other ways. Maybe we shake. Some people burp. Everyone is different. So it's just the vagus nerve basically, like resetting and going into parasympathetic, getting, activated into the parasympathetic branch, which is the rest, digest branch of our nervous system. Okay. So I just want to say also that next month I'll be running a self-regulation live on Insight Timer. And I thought that since co-regulation is the basis for self-regulation, it would be, most helpful to start with that. Okay. So if you have, by the way, a journal, or if you have something that you can write on, even your phone or a notepad or something like that, I'm going to invite you into noticing as we practice together, because noticing is going to start to basically develop your own interoceptive awareness. So the awareness of what's going on inside of you, and it's going to sensitize you to what's happening in your nervous system. And by doing that, you can now start to learn how to regulate your nervous system, because you're becoming attuned. So if you write things down, as we're doing those experiments, you're going to see, when I came in, I felt a bit like, dissociated or maybe distracted or a bit stressed, anxious. And then we're going to do the first practice, and you're going to say, now I feel this way. And so now it's giving you the contrast of those two experiences, of how you arrived and how your nervous system was and how it is now. And as I was saying earlier on, there is no state where we're always regulated. Like, co-regulation and self-regulation is about learning how to move from state. So we are going to experience things in life that dysregulate us, because we haven't faced those things before, or because we have trauma associated with those things, or because they're difficult and they require a lot of resources and a lot of, even like when we're doing something new, it requires a lot of caloric energy for the brain to lay down a new neural pathway. And so that in itself can cause stress. The nervous system can, unless you're very resourced, it can cause stress. So this is what we're going to do right now. It's like we're learning, let's see where I was and where I can go to, so that then we can learn to do that, and we can learn to navigate dysregulated states to regulated states, right? Either through co-regulation or through self-regulation. And then we're also going to practice together, like, okay, well, how do I practice co-regulation with others, right? What do I do? And again, if you're not comfortable regulating with other people, then just, you can ask in the chat, okay, what are other options for me? What can I do, to co-regulate so that I can have this experience, but not with human beings, because I'm not comfortable. I don't feel like I can trust, or I don't feel like I feel safer enough around, those people. And eventually, as you co-regulate with nature or with pets or with animals in general, you're going to start to build capacity, resilience, flexibility. And then when you're ready, if that feels right, then you can start to co-regulate with others, with people that you feel, safe with. So we're going to start. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I'd like to share about co-regulation. Okay, one more thing. So when you co-regulate, you can be the one offering the cues of safety and the support to another nervous system, or you can be the one asking for that. So if you are aware of your nervous system state, then you're more able to say, oh, today I feel resourced, I feel flexible, capable, resilient, and I'm going to offer my nervous system to someone else that I feel needs it, right? So, and you don't even have to say it to them. You can just be aware, oh, I feel really good today. I have, great energy and I feel comfortable and I feel like I can offer some of that nervous system regulation to another. And it can be a silent, communication that happens. Or you can know, for instance, if you know that's a family member or a friend or even someone on the street, if you see that, their energy and their effect and their posture seems a bit under-resourced, you can just embody without saying anything, without rescuing them, because nervous system regulation, co-regulation is not about rescuing anyone or saving anyone. It's about basically broadcasting, hey, you can be in this state too. And I'm modeling for you what a regulated nervous system is like. And then you can also ask. So if you know people that are safe for you, that you trust, you can also ask. There is I don't know if you've heard of that. There's a practice where you say 8 minutes. You just need 8 minutes. Like if you feel dysregulated, you can tell your friend, do you have 8 minutes? And you can that can be a code between you and a friend to ask for co-regulation. Like if you feel under-resourced, if you feel unable to meet a challenge in your life, if you feel like you're stretched thin, then you can reach out to a friend and say, hey, do you have 8 minutes? And that's all it takes. And sometimes even less than that. So asking for support and giving support based on your state, right? Okay, so the first practice that we're going to do is one that right now we're going to practice more as creating more resourcing and containment and grounding, and that you're going to do for yourself. That said, in the future, you can do that with somebody else, right? And the way that it works is that when your body knows, right, where it is in space and that it has tone and strength and capacity, then your body is able to meet, life's challenges more easily. So the first thing that we're going to do is simply, if you can look around your space and just realize where you are right now. And so you can look to the side, look up, center, to the other side, look down, look to your body, and then even look back behind you. That's really important because we're often not in touch to what's going on in our back bodies. And that can dysregulate us if we're not aware, if we're not in spatial awareness. So doing that for yourself, and then offering containment, touching your body with pressure, whatever pressure works for you. Touching your legs, touching the lower legs, your feet if you have access to your feet. And just like, I'm here, okay, I'm in my body. And feeling what that feels like. I'm holding myself, I'm giving myself, like the containment, the strength, and I'm connecting to my muscles, I'm connecting to my tone, my capacity, my body's capacity to be in the world and to take care of itself. And then take a moment and notice, how did that feel? Do you feel more present? Do you feel more connected, more embodied? Do you feel more resourced? And if you'll put that in the chat, I would love to hear how it was for you. What was your experience of containment, if you feel comfortable with it? For me, like I said, who's nervous with public speaking, it helped me to kind of like bring my energy down. Like now I'm sitting more in my chair, and therefore my body doesn't have to prop up and do so much work and take up more energy. I've landed. I'm more here with you as a result of that. So if anyone would like to share in the chat, what was this experience of orienting in space and also containment? Was it grounding for you? Was it resourcing? What happened in your body, in your mind, in your emotions? So, unless someone wants to share, and would be very happy to read what anyone has to say about this experience. So, here we did that for ourselves. In a co-regulating space, what we would do is we would do that with someone else. We would either ask for that kind of touch, the kind of touch that we need, of course, someone that we feel close with, that we feel comfortable with. We can even say which part of the body we feel comfortable being, touched. And so we can ask for that, or we can offer that. If we know that someone is feeling a bit flighty, if someone is feeling, ungrounded or unsettled, tired, disconnected, dissociated, we can help them. And I don't know if you've heard that actually for children who have some degree of autism, there's, like many different expression of autism, that's one of the things that helps them the most to ground themselves, because they feel so much and they sense so much that sometimes they're actually not in their body and not feeling safe in their body, overwhelmed with stimuli. So when someone who has a neurodivergent brain or has some form of autism, when we give them touch or massage, it's extremely grounding. It helps them immediately feel in their bodies and feel safe in their bodies. Okay, so I'm not seeing any comments yet. Thank you, S, for sharing that. And thank you, Maria. Maria, if it's okay to read, if people are on their phone and they're not seeing the chat, Maria is saying also that she's at work and that this exercise helped her get back to her body and space instead of letting her annoying coworker get to her. And then S was saying that that's very true for their autistic child when their autistic child gets dysregulated. Feng said, I hope I said your name right, Feng, I feel more calm and grounded. And Fabiola said, interesting, I work with neurodivergent people. So, and will tell my team, yeah, I'm neurodivergent myself. So I'm talking also from personal experience and, the overwhelm of sensation. And so any time that I do that, by the way, weighted blankets are incredible for that, because they immediately give you a sense of containment, the weight. It has to be heavy enough, like some of them are not heavy enough, but something that's 15 pounds and more can help someone who's neurodivergent or has autistic traits to sleep better, to feel safer, and it can really help them when they're going through maybe, a difficult situation. So the second practice, wonderful, Fabiola, thank you for sharing. So the second practice, Fabiola was saying that she likes them also for herself, and the blankets, the weighted blankets. And there's also lots of weighted toys now also that you can use and you can put on your body. Maybe for children or for adults, to have fun also with that. So the second practice is going to be what's called soft, loving eyes. And so our eyes are basically one of the ways that we transmit this co-regulation. So I'm going to do my best right now to look at you. I can't really see myself and see if this is like directly, but through the eyes is how we had our first experience with our caregivers of co-regulation. Like usually if we were breastfed or even not breastfeeding, even when the baby is in the arms of the mother or the father and giving, if they're not breastfeeding, giving the bottle, there's going to be eye contact, and that's deeply co-regulating. So when we have eye contact, when we develop eye contact with someone, and we start to cultivate what's called soft, loving eyes. So rather than, angry eyes or distracted eyes or, like eyes that are like wide open, maybe, a bit like fearful eyes, when we're actually just in this state of attuning with another, connecting with them, being soft, receiving them, paying attention to what they're saying, paying attention to their body language, paying attention to even like sensing with our eyes, and also by hearing them, by seeing them and hearing them, what they need, we can offer through the soft, loving eyes that co-regulation effect. So I can't see you, unfortunately, and right now I'm just basically modeling for you what that would be like. And by the way, you can do that on the street with strangers. Now, not expecting that they might respond to that. That's not the purpose, right? Because if we expect that a stranger might also do that back, well, we might then get dysregulated if they don't, right? The purpose is just to embody that softness, to embody that love, to embody that, like, you're welcome here, you're safe with me. And this is not in any way political, what I'm about to say. And we live in difficult times around the world. There's a lot of conflict. There's a lot of, pain, and a lot of people are going through tremendous challenges in the world. And so the more, if we are resourced, if we are regulated ourselves, if we can have that awareness of how much our gaze can give to someone else, even if we don't look at them directly, just to have those soft, loving eyes, the cues of safety that sends, and how that can help somebody else to feel more safe in their bodies, more safe in the world, and more regulated. So another thing that you can do is when you're basically smiling with your eyes and being soft, you can also smile to your heart. And when you smile to your heart, there's this, like, you can almost feel it. You can feel like the chest opens, your heart opens, and maybe you can sense that in a way, your heart feeling that gentleness, that you're paying attention, that you're being present with your heart, now smiles back at you. And when you embody that with somebody else, they might also feel your open-heartedness. And that comes through your eyes, and that also comes through your intention of smiling to your heart, and maybe smiling to their heart, and being connected in that way. So I'd love to hear for you, if you're practicing right now, whether you were watching me embodying the soft, loving eyes, or whether you were doing that for yourself. And by the way, you can practice that in front of a mirror before doing it with another, before offering that to another. What happened in your body? Did you feel something soften? Did you feel something just like relax? Did your jaw relax? Did your shoulders drop? Did your heart feel more open? Did you feel that you landed more in your sit? What happened in your body? I'd love to hear what it was like for you. So Maria is saying, there's a blanket called Sleep Hug that basically keeps us in a cocoon and makes us feel super safe and comforted. I will look that up. I had not heard of Sleep Hug. It was on Shark Tank, and it's an amazing tool to feel comforted. I love that. I will check that out. So what was it like for you? How do you see yourself practicing soft, loving eyes with somebody else? Whether you actually ask for that or you give that, whether you say anything or you don't say anything, how do you see yourself doing that, and what do you feel will be this experience of co-regulation with another through soft, loving eyes? Oh, and I forgot, I keep forgetting those things. Insight Timer invites us to ask for donations. So if you're enjoying the live, and if it's beneficial to you, and if it's not putting you in a situation that's not comfortable for you, and if you'd like to give a donation, we're always grateful for donations. And it's never an expectation, it's just an ask. And thank you for all the hearts. So even though I don't see you, I see your comments. When there's comments, I see the hearts, and I receive them, and I appreciate them so much. Okay, so if there's no question and no shares in the chat, we're going to go into the next practice. And for the sake of time, I see that I'm a little behind. So I'm going to skip one, which is the shared rhythm and breathing together, because even doing that online can be a bit, in a way, esoteric, because it's more difficult to kind of like feel. We can, sense into the space and breathing together. That said, it's easier if we are actually in space together. So that said, I invite you to practice shared, rhythmic breathing with somebody else, because that's also a very simple and effective way to co-regulate, when you're really just like allowing your breaths to sink and become one. Essentially, you're starting to breathe at the same pace, the same rhythm. So now your nervous systems are attuned, and you're on the same, kind of frequency. And it's easier to dialogue, it's easier to be together, and to feel like you can relate to one another, because you're attuned at the level of your nervous system through your breath. So the next practice is called the gratitude exchange. And the way that the gratitude exchange works, it's very simple. It's basically expressing your gratitude and asking also for someone to express their gratitude and appreciation of you. And the reason why this is so regulating to our nervous system is that our brain is wired for the bias of the negative, right? So I said we're wired for attachment at the beginning of this live. And we're also, there is the wiring for survival, which means that we're going to be paying attention to, quote unquote, the negative, right? The things that feel threatening, the things that could cause, an issue that we don't feel safe with. And so because we have that bias in the brain, it's really important that we work towards actually undoing that bias, and basically really just being able to focus on the positive, right? So the appreciation and the gratitude is us focusing on what's working, not what's not working, not what we don't like, not what's not good, not what's wrong, not, what's quote unquote bad. It's about, no, let me focus on what I love in this person. Let me focus on the specific qualities. By the way, the more specific you are, sharing with somebody else how you feel about them, the more they feel seen, right? If you say to someone, I love you, or you're great, it's very generic, and that they might not feel seen. They might not recognize themselves in that. If you say to someone, I love how gentle you are with me. I love when I feel, a bit stressed, how you wrap your arms around me and you give me a sense of feeling safe in the world. I love and appreciate so much when that you call me or you send me a text or whatever it is, right? Just really recognizing the specific qualities that someone is embodying in their relationship with you. So it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship. It can be a friend. It can be, can even be a pet. They may not understand the words. They will feel you. They will feel your intent. They will feel, like the way that whatever it is that you share with them, they will feel the intention. They will feel the energy, the underlying energy. And so the specificity has basically, it encloses, it encompasses the energy that you feel of gratitude and of attunement and appreciation of the person. So, for instance, right now, and I'd love for you to also engage in the chat with me, I can be attuned to you and say how appreciative I am of all the loving, kind, caring comments on our meditations, and how seen I feel when people really take the time to express how a meditation touched them, what happened for them when they were doing the meditation. Because when I create a meditation, a lot of those meditations come from me meditating, and then, or with clients, creating, certain practices with them, and then, basically recording it so that it can be shared with more people. And so I've had the experience of that meditation already, and the way that it's touched me, the way, the intention that I put into it, the love, the care. And when it's reflected back to me, I just feel so seen. I feel like, wow, that was exactly what I was intending. That was exactly what I wanted to offer to the listener. So I just want to say how appreciative and grateful I am of your comments and the time that you take to comment, to rate the meditations, to comment, to donate, and to say, I see you. I see what you're doing. I see, how the love that you put into the meditations that you create. So that's me seeing you and telling you how much I feel seen by you and how much I appreciate you. And I can also say, you just showed up for this live on co-regulation, which means that you care, that you're here to feel better and to help other people feel better, to find solutions. And so I appreciate your curiosity, your presence, your courage, you taking the time out of your day to be here, to do this with me. So I see you in those ways. And of course, there's many ways I don't see you because I can't talk to you and I'm not chatting with you right now. And I can say for the people who have chatted in the chat, like how much care there is, sharing about the sleep hug, sharing about your own personal experience with your child who's autistic, sharing about how the meditations help you, sharing, Fabiola, about your colleagues being neurodivergent. So I feel the care in you. And Fang, thank you so much. Yes, I do respond to comments. Sometimes I fall behind. That said, I always try to answer comments. And thank you, Fabiola, for saying you appreciate the warmth and expertise you put into this live. So now I appreciate you sharing that with me. And what I'd love to see in the chat is you sharing what you appreciate about you. Because when you see you and you appreciate you, then it's going to be so much easier to see others and appreciate them too. And oftentimes, and I'm not saying that's true for everyone, it's true of people who have relational trauma, for instance. We can feel like, like it's hard to appreciate ourselves because we worked so hard in relationship and we didn't always feel seen or heard. So if you'll take a moment to write something that you appreciate about yourself in the chat, it would mean so much to me. And I just saw the donation from Vera, and I so appreciate it. Thank you so much, Vera. Really very generous donation. I really appreciate it. And so I'm going to start so that then whoever wants to follow can do that. So what do I appreciate about myself? Well, I think while I'm really nervous in public, I still show up and I'm still kind and I'm still, I still do my best, right, to be caring and kind while being neurodivergent and often being flooded by just sensory input. So I will say that I appreciate myself for showing up, even though it's hard and even though it takes a lot of energy for me to do that. So, and Fabiola said, I appreciate, I use many times the loving eyes. It works lovely. Yeah. So by the way, the loving eyes, I can't remember who it was. There was so much research done on that. And it was one of the most powerful and effective tool for co-regulation and self-regulation. So I highly recommend it. And the gratitude. I mean, there's been so many studies on gratitude. And if you start bringing gratitude in your relationship, the gifts are manifold, because when people feel appreciated, and that instead of like, how we may say, oh, you didn't put away the laundry, or you didn't clean the dishes, or you didn't do this, or why are you doing that? And instead we say, wow, thank you so much this morning when you brought me my tea in bed, or thank you so much when you rubbed my feet last night, or whatever it is, and it doesn't have that they specifically that they did something for you. Just you can appreciate them, who they are, their personalities. So right now I'm seeing Alexandra saying, I appreciate my persistence, even though I feel a lot of resistance sometimes. I still will show up in my life. Beautiful. And I honor and celebrate you, Alexandra. Thank you so much for sharing that. And really grateful for whoever wants to share right now about their experience and their appreciation of themselves. And then think about how you'll practice that. Who do you want to bring that to? Have you been hypercritical of someone? Because, we have conflicts in our lives. So sometimes we can get critical because we carry, on our shoulders the weight of all the conflicts. So it's easy to, to kind of get lost in that and to forget to say to someone, it's not all bad. It's not just, you're not just that thing that I don't like or that brings me pain. You're also all these other things, and I want to celebrate you today. So Vera said that she will start to use the loving eyes on the horses that are in the pasture along her daily walk in nature. I love that. we're so lucky right now. We're in Sedona, and there's horses in many different areas, and I feel so connected to them, and I always look at them and with soft, loving eyes, and they always come and hang out. And so it's a beautiful thing. Please forgive me, Shiloh. I hope I said your name right. Shiloh said, I appreciate my creative mind, ability to improvise and to listen well. I have turned out to be a loyal friend and companion with humor and warmth. And I appreciate you showing up even though you are nervous. Beautiful. Lucky us. Thank you, Shiloh. I so appreciate that. And I celebrate you, and I'm so grateful for you sharing about all of your qualities. And so that's the beginning, right? When we share about our qualities, then we can start to see others, because we see ourselves through loving eyes and not distorted lenses of all of the things that we think are not good enough, right? It's so important, again, to make up for the bias of the brain. There was a study that said that we need to practice 7 times more times the positive because we have this bias. So 7 times more times being grateful, 7 times more times giving us gentle, containing touch, 7 times more time doing synchronized breathing, and expressing gratitude in the world, so that we can start to rewire our brain to the positive, to seeing what works and what we want to revalidate and reinforce and do more of, instead of getting, and that's completely normal and natural, that said we can get so lost, in what's not working and what's not good. And then that can kind of take us into a spiral of negativity. So thank you so much, everyone, for all your comments. I know we're almost at time, and I hope you still have a little bit of time. I'd like to do the last practice and then take any questions. So the last practice is also really important. It's another practice that really helps with co-regulation. And it's very simple, and it's so important. It's asking for what you need and asking someone else to share with you what they need. So oftentimes we'll unknowingly, either because when we were children, we felt we were kind of either directly or indirectly sent the message, you're too much, you're asking for too much, I don't have the capacity to give you, to meet your needs, or we were unseen or neglected or abused. We did not get to have our needs met. And so then we can retrieve and feel like it's not safe to ask for what we need in the world. And what happens is that we might either be disappointed, we might become resentful, we might become disillusioned, we might become kind of dissociated. We might dissociate and no longer be less attuned in our relationship, because we're like, well, this need is not being met. And we can even have this idea that people who love us, they will know what we need, but no one knows what we need as much as we do. Only we know what we need. So as much as it's difficult and it's kind of going against the grain, like, well, if I ask for what I need, maybe my need won't be met, and then I'll be let down, and then I'll feel hurt. I promise you, it might not happen in every relationship. So you have to kind of be very sensitive to how resourced a person is and the kind of relationship that you have with this person that you're going to ask for your needs to be met with. And you might start with someone that you feel really safe with, who has met your needs before and you know that they can. And really ask yourself, what do I need? In relationship. Again, we are not an island to ourselves. Science, polyvagal theory, has proven that we cannot self-regulate without co-regulation. We need co-regulation. And so asking for what we need is not being needy. It's not asking for too much. It's not being entitled. It's you being attuned with yourself and what you need in a relationship so that you can make the relationship better. And by being transparent, by asking for what you need, actually all of the distortive, narratives that can come from your needs not having been met because someone doesn't have a crystal ball and doesn't know really what your specific need might be. Now you can actually build trust. You can actually connect deeper. You can feel met. You can feel loved. You can feel like you are seen, you are cared about. And so it's in many ways our responsibility to ask for what we need, even though as children it didn't feel safe. And I promise you that if you start doing that, what will happen is that it will feel easier and easier to ask for what you need, and there'll be a lot less of these either resentments or letdowns in relationship because you can ask for what you need without expecting. Maybe the person can't meet your needs. That's why I was talking about the attunement, like being attuned. Is this person resource right now? One day they might be able to meet your needs and another day they might not. It also depends on the language. If we use victimhood language, might not be met the same way as in like, today I just want to feel seen. Could you say something to me that helps me feel seen? And just asking for that. Or I have this need for gentle touch right now. Can you please, caress my arm? Can you please caress my face? I have a need for a smiling face. Could you smile at me? Could you just share this space of safety with me? So whatever it is for you, whatever your need is, even reflecting on that, is there a need that I haven't allowed myself to have met by someone else? And then asking for that. And then really, if you don't feel comfortable with that to begin with, then ask someone else that you love and you care about, what can I do for you? Is there something, that I can do to make our relationship closer, to make you feel safe with me, to make you feel more comfortable, to make you feel resourced, to make you feel loved, to make you feel cared about? What can I do for you? So when you start this kind of authentic, present, attuned connection, when you develop that with someone, your relationship will get better and better and better. So as much as there could be resistance to asking for what we need, it is something that really is extremely rewarding and regulating and trust building and safety producing. And so it builds your resilience, it builds your capacity, it helps you feel resourced, it helps you move into the world and face the challenges and the stresses of the world with more ability to be with what's difficult, because your needs are being met and because you feel safe, that it's safe to ask for what you need. And that can really, shift the paradigms of what we have inherited sometimes, not for everyone, that's it, for some of us in our childhood, that we were too much and that we shouldn't, have needs, or we shouldn't ask for what we need. So I know we're past the time and I respect your time. I'm going to stay a little longer, probably another 10 minutes or so, to answer questions. And also, if anyone wants to share, if it feels comfortable for you to share what you need, I would love to be a witness to that, or to share what you are going to share with someone else about asking them for what they need, how you might approach them. And just share with that in the chat if you feel comfortable with that. And then I'll invite you, when you ask for what you need, be in touch with the discomfort of that. And also, once you've done that and your needs have been met, or a need has been met, also tune into yourself, into your body. How do you feel? What does that feel like in your heart, in your gut, in your throat, your whole body, your nervous system? What happens when your needs are met? Or what happens when you ask someone else what their needs are and you can meet those needs? How do you feel? So if anyone wants to share, I would love to either witness you or to witness what you would like to ask of another of what their needs are. Okay, so I'm not seeing yet any comments, and I look forward to any comments if there are any about that. That said, I would love to take any questions about co-regulation. That said, if you have another question, I'm also happy to answer it, since we're here in space together. And just notice maybe after this what really kind of landed for you, what was supportive, what practice you feel like you'll take away and are going to experiment with, what you want to go deeper into. What do you feel will... Alexandra said, I need to feel held. I love that. I have that same need. That's such a big need. And so the first practice, by the way, Alexandra, first of all, asking to be held with someone that you feel safe asking that from, and then holding yourself. And the weighted blankets, by the way, they really help you feel held. So I love that. I resonate with that. And Vera, thank you for the content and live sessions you put on Inside Timer. I appreciate it all so much. Thank you so much, Vera, and thank you for your donation. Thong, hope I say your name right. I need to feel recognized. Thank you so much. So, by the way, a lot of our needs can come either from something that was not a need that wasn't met, or something that was there for us and that we want more of, that we recognize is something we feel so appreciative of and that we enjoy so much. So I resonate with both, by the way. Me too, especially as a neurodivergent person. Being recognized really also helps me. Alexandra, thank you so much for your donation. I need more time to relax. Fabiola, I love that. I also need that. So I resonate with that. And so that's a beautiful thing to recognize, because you can give that to yourself. You can be aware of that and then change the way that you are in the world so that you can have that. And maybe you can also ask for that with the people that you're close with, that some of the activities maybe that you share, that they're relaxing, so that you can relax in those venues, maybe with your colleagues, like asking. And I don't know, for me, I know that's something important to me, to relax and to have time to just be in nature, or to lay down and do nothing and just be. So, is there anything that anyone wants to ask, or is there... You're welcome, Alexandra. Is there anything that anyone wants to share about what they'll be practicing, so that we can be... Okay, so Fabiola is asking, what do you recommend to work with people with autism to do several of these steps? So the soft loving eyes are not always, so if you're referring to, the entire process, the soft loving eyes are not always accessible. For sure, the touch, asking first and offering, like really safe touch, and for them to start with themselves, can be, really helpful. And if you have a close relationship, and if touch is okay within the context of, that relationship, it's not always like in the US, for instance, there's a lot of regulation around who can touch and who cannot touch. Just, kind of navigating that, and then offering touch, in the context, gentle touch in the context, and containing touch in the context that is okay legally, and that is also, of course, even more so, well, at the same level as the legal, just the person, honoring always where the person is at. Definitely asking them for what they need in a very gentle way. And also, so this is not something we did today, but mirroring in a way that they feel seen. Yeah, touch most of the time is not okay. Yeah. So yes, let them copy you. Exactly. Give touch, containment to yourself. And then the mirroring, just like really being attuned to their body language, to the way that they move, not in a way that is like, I'm copying you, and that can feel uncomfortable to some people, more in a way that is like, you're so attuned with their pace and their rhythm and the tone of their voice, the prosody in their voice, their posture, and you're basically, your body is mirroring their body and their state in a way that doesn't feel threatening, in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming, but in a way that is welcoming, and in a way that they can sense, oh, there's an attunement here. This person is here with me, and it's not overwhelming me. It's not too much, like sensory, overload. It's more like I can sense, I can feel that this person is with me, and that's deeply co-regulating in my experience of what I know from my own personal experience of autism, of how, people who have some form of autism, because there's so many different forms of autism, which is why autism is often not fully understood. That said, just being able to be with and to feel actually attuned with, which is not often the case for the population, with autism. So I hope that's helpful. And thank you, everyone. Again, if this was helpful to you, if you want to, you can donate. And if you have, in the future, any specific topic that you'd like to cover, or if you want more generic, Q&As, again, next month, especially because it's the holidays, I'm going to do a self-regulation live. I'm not sure yet when it will be, probably about a month from now, more or less. So we'll be kind of like seeing, okay, how can we resource ourselves more, have more capacity, be more flexible and resilient when, in addition to everything that we're already doing, now we have the holidays. And there's a lot that this involves, like there's a lot more that we may have to do, or there's a lot more relational kind of like interactions that can happen, that can be stressful for some people. Not everyone. For some people, it's really resourcing. For others, holidays are stressful. It's like there's a pace. Like you can even see, if you're in a city, you can see the way that people are walking or people are doing things. Everyone is in a hurry and, doing their shopping for the holidays and things like that. So just wanting to offer you a resource for the holidays, and also a basis for understanding self-regulation and how you can self-regulate. And of course, you have our profile, you know where to find out more about what we do and how, you know, like we have a lot of meditations for self-regulation. Co-regulation, it's not really easy to create meditations for co-regulation. That said, the way that I record my meditations, I go into a very specific state where I am co-regulating with you. So I hope you feel that, and I hope that you get the co-regulation from the meditation itself, from my voice, the tone, the pace, the space, my heart being open, my presence. Even though we're not in space together, we are in space together during those meditations. So that is deeply co-regulating. Okay, everyone, if there's no more question, I'm just so grateful to have been in space with you. Thank you for all the love. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for showing up. I hope this was helpful.